Hi, I'm Beth Ann.
What's up? I'm Ayla.
This is Let's Talk BL, a boys love podcast.
Welcome back to the podcast. It's a Sunday, and that means it's Series Sunday, where we talk all things one series and one series only. Turn away now or prepare to be spoiled on one of the most iconic BLs, but most difficult to find, most difficult to access, most difficult to watch. So it's truly a throw up as to whether or not you have watched this. So in that case, if you have not watched Cherry Magic, turn away now or prepare to be spoiled, because we're going to get into the sugar sweet marshmallow fluff that is this amazing show.
So good, so soft,
so fluffy,
so unproblematic.
It's not even, so sometimes I describe these types of BLs as like sugar-coated sugar. This is not even that, because sugar-coated sugar is too crunchy for this BL. Like, we're talking peanut butter and marshmallow fluff sandwich on white bread. Like, that is
the crust.
With no crust cut off, cut into a star. Like, this is what this BL is. In a heart, yes.
In a heart.
Yeah.
Oh, I really want that now. That sounds delicious. Yeah, this show truly, I mean, you could watch it at the gym. Ayla loves to watch her shows at the gym.
I do, because I started running earlier this year.
Why?
I mean, gross. I don't know, fitness. Like, I don't want to die. And so, like, the struggle that is running is just boring. It's just super boring is the thing. But, like, it's hot outside. I'm not trying to do it outside and, like, look at the scenery.
Yeah. But if you're, like, running towards a cute
if I'm, like, running towards a boy. But the problem is you have to be careful watching BLs at the gym. Yeah. Like, one time I asked our Discord, like, hey, can I watch Why Are You at the Gym? I made it past the beach scene. And somebody had to be like, Ayla, no, there are 2 beach scenes. And I was like, oh.
True.
So, like, in this case, yes, you can watch Cherry Magic in public, and there's not a beach trip.
No, there wasn't at all.
No.
They didn't take
no
a
frolic.
Trip.
No frolic. Yeah.
Anyways, okay, so let's get to the fun facts before we get to the real stuff. So this came out in 2020. It was 12 episodes. Good luck finding it legally. But
I do want to point out it's very important to use a VPN. Do what you need to do to access this officially and legally. Please do not pirate.
Amen. Preach. Okay, so the cast is, oh gosh, Japanese names.
No, I can do this because, okay, here, I got you. I don't know. I'm probably going to get yelled at in Japanese. Every time I'm like, I got this. Only because.
But if you get yelled at in Japanese, then you won't know that they're yelling at you, so it'll be fine.
Oh my God. Okay, only because my K-pop alt bias happens to be Japanese.
Oh, right.
And one of the main characters in Cherry Magic shares a family name with him. So I know this one.
Amazing.
So we have Adachi Kiyoshi, played by Akaso Iji, and Kurosawa Yuichi, played by Machida Kieta. Thanks.
That was beautiful. You sounded so Japanese.
Oh, God. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing.
We need to have a Japanese actor on the show now so that they can make fun of our Japanese pronunciations.
We do. I need to be roasted.
I love it. Anyways, okay, let's get to the synopsis. While still a virgin at 30, Adachi Kiyoshi gains a magical power, the ability to read other people's minds by touching them. At first, he's overwhelmed by his new ability, and it's not proving to be helpful to him. But that all changes when he accidentally touches Kurosawa Yuichi, whom he learns has romantic feelings for him. Solid.
Yeah.
Solid synopsis.
I mean, yeah, solid synopsis. And I do want to take the time to read out the full title of Cherry Magic because I think it's really important. So this BL is not just called Cherry Magic. We all in the BL fandom and the community call it Cherry Magic, but no. It's not. And sometimes you only see part of this full name, but we're going to read the full, which is Cherry magic. 30 years of virginity can make you a wizard? It seems that you can be a witch if you are a virgin until 30 years old.
Fascinating. Also, I love that they defined a witch as like reading minds. Like that's literally all you can do.
Yeah, I mean it's witchcraft.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But here's the thing. It makes me wish I had stayed a virgin until I was 30 because, like, I want to be a witch. Like, I want to be a wizard. Am I a witch or a wizard? Because there's, like, that's conflicting.
Yeah,
like, witches and wizards do different things. So, like, can I do alchemy or, like, can I turn people into, like, frogs and toads and stuff? What?
Yeah, but
what could I do if I had remained a virgin?
In Harry Potter, aren't you just like a witch or a wizard depending on if you're like male or female?
Oh my god. No, I guess. But in general, so it's like first of all, let's not pretend that like Harry Potter is like the lore maker.
Listen, for a bunch of young millennials, it is.
Yeah. Anyways, this is not the debate we're getting into. Yeah. But I just think that this name is really rad and I love it. And it makes me happy.
And this show is really rad. This plot, bless the Japanese for giving us older adult content.
We get adults. We get grown-ups, grown people.
We get office settings. We get older side characters,
like living together and that whole situation.
Solid. We get cute cats.
So I will say, I think with this show, I have like a few just like highlight high points for Cherry Magic because it truly was just like so fluffy, so soft, the softest thing I ever saw.
Yeah.
And so one of the highlights for me truly is the first episode. I think the first episode is so good because it really, really hooks you. And I think that Akaso plays Adachi really, really well that he's sort of this like sweet, like bumbling idiot. And you really believe that he's just this like sort of like clumsy, bumbling, like cute, sweet boy who's just like he can't do anything quite right. Like honestly, another character that did this really well for me was War in the Best story, where like they intro him and it's like even though his name is Best, he does everything the worst.
Yeah, that was good.
And it's the same vibe, but like grown up, not in high school.
Right.
For Adachi, and like I really like that type of character. I think those boys are just so sweet. And I think he does a really good job of like being the sort of like bumbling fool, but like he's not stupid and he's not naive and he's like he's in touch with reality. He's not like head in the clouds kind of like like ditzy, but like he comes off ditzy.
Yeah, he just like doesn't have self-confidence. Like that's literally what's lacking. Cause that's the thing with a situation like this for a lead actor of a BL to be able to play this role convincingly. It's exactly like Tae in 3 Will Be Free, where you're like, there's no way Tae Tawan is gonna play this like awkward, goofy boy. And
like who would think Tae Tawan would not be like the cute popular one?
Yeah. He fully plays it perfectly and is like so convincing. And so yeah, this whole character, I will say this character gets frustrating towards the end because you're like, okay, guy, like you got a chance now. Like let's give it up. But
I think he does have sweet moments, and that's another one of like sweet moments of this like I don't know, like really he has these moments that are super sweet and really like insightful and intuitive, and you see that he's not just this like big dummy, you know? Yeah. And so, but talking about the first episode, so this is where in the first episode we find out that he has become a wizard / witch.
Yeah.
Because he's still a virgin. And it's super cute. The way they intro the dynamic with Kurosawa. Yeah. The way that they intro it, that like he's this like super cool guy who like is good at everything, and like I wish I could be like Kurosawa. And it's almost like a situation where it's like, I don't know if I want to like be him or be with him.
Yeah. Totally. Well, and the really wonderful thing about the show is how wholesome Kurosawa's thoughts are about Kiyoshi. Like, it's just like so sweet. Just, it makes sense that they would put these two characters together because they match each other and like the genuine like naivete of like just their outlook on life.
Yeah. And I love, so again, in the first episode, in the elevator, when he first like hears his thoughts for the first time, and he's like trying to unpack what he's just heard, which is this like such a sweet moment that, again, I love those moments that are like universal. It's like, oh man, I've had that moment. Like I've had that feel. Like I feel you. I love those moments. And so for me, in the first episode, when that like the first time he hears his thoughts, where he's like talking about his like cute bedhead and like, you know, I'm just like, that's so sweet. And like, I have had those feels, like I've had those moments where like there's a little ruffled hair, or there's like a little like,
you have
just
those
like
moments daily about random BL boys.
First of all, they're not random. First of all, rude. First of all, how dare you speak that way of like Alfred? War and Alfred.
Just Alfred at this point, y'all. It's the agenda has changed. Everything is going to start coming back to Alfred.
I take offense to that because I remain on this war agenda and will always remain on this war agenda.
I don't know,
but I do really like Alfred.
Go support Summer Days, the series. I told you this is going to become a Summer Days podcast. Anyway, we're talking about the Japanese.
This is an Alfred appreciation podcast. No, okay. We've all had those moments where you notice like
the little things. So cute.
It's the little things. And it's like the little imperfections is what I like, because that's like one of my favorite things. Is you and I talk about this a lot, but I don't think we've ever talked about it on the podcast. That like one of my favorite things is when BL boys have retainers. So like, like Kay and Copter, these boys who are like beautiful and perfect. And they wear them
publicly, which is so funny.
So like, yeah, and especially Tay. Like Tay has a whole advertising gig around his retainer. And Tay is beautiful and funny and talented. And in every other way, he is perfect. But he's got this one little imperfection, right? And like, that's what I like about it. And so for me, just like as a person, seeing like a little imperfection on someone makes them like real to me and makes them like I like
a retainer is overwhelming.
And so that's why I think that first moment where he like reads his thoughts, where he's so impressed by the bedhead, and like that's the thing that gets him, where he's like, he looks so cute with the bedhead. Like it's so sweet and it's so wholesome and it's not aggressive, and it's just like, it really sets the mood and the tone for Kurosawa throughout the whole series, because Kurosawa, like his whole thing is like, he notices all the little things, right? And like, that's his whole deal. So him noticing the bedhead and him like thinking that's cute and liking all these like little things about Adachi, like that's what's so nice about his character.
Yeah. I also really just love the friendship that develops between these two, where now that Adachi has like learned that this man that he is like admired and looked up to and like has like a boy crush on, that like he doesn't really understand what the feelings are, that like he just thinks he like looks up to him. And so the fact that like he's like, oh, let's like develop this friendship, because I'm hearing these thoughts and they're making me feel a certain way. And like, I don't really know what that way is, like why I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling. And like, he's trying to like reconcile these thoughts and feelings. And I just like love that friendship where they genuinely like care for each other. I think that's what's interesting about this show is that you just love to see them interacting in the most wholesome, innocent way. Like, I don't need anything more from them than this like sweet, genuine affection and like respect and like there's just so many.
It's straight up marshmallow fluff. It's just like, it's just nice.
Yeah.
And so another one of my like high points is actually kind of plays into the like, you just want to watch them like be together.
Yeah.
Like just
hang out.
It just, yeah. And so one of my like favorite things is like, I watched the show and then I went and looked for all the cut scenes. And so my favorite cutscene is a cutscene from episode 9, and they're like sitting together eating the onigiri from the little like food cart outside of Adachi's building. Mm-hmm. And it's this like very sweet moment where they're just like eating lunch together, and Kurosawa just like says to him, he's like, "You're right, the double mayo is good." Like he's just like, and it's this like really cute moment where like they've talked about this onigiri and like now he's like, oh, I want to try that. And so like Adachi like buys it for him, and then the little like other boy comes up and he's like, you guys are eating the same lunch.
Yeah.
And he's like, he's clearly reading into it, and you see Adachi be like, ugh. And Kurosawa just like handles it beautifully, and he's like, oh, he talks about how this place by his house like sells good onigiri, like I asked him to buy it for me, and the boy is like, okay, buy it for me next time too. Thanks. Like, bye. Right? Is like, and then he leaves, and Kurosawa just like looks at Adachi and like winks and smiles. And it's just like, it is this very like, it's just so nice. Yeah. And I love it so much. And it's, the thing about it is like, I love it so much, but it's such like a nothing throwaway, simple scene. It's like, there's no substance to it. There's no nothing to it, but it's just, I love it.
Yeah. This show just like is enjoyable. Like there's not anything to think about. Like it doesn't take you on this like huge emotional roller coaster. It's just enjoyable. There is like that moment at the end where Adachi is really trying to figure out if he can like really be in a relationship with this person, not being able to hear his thoughts. And that is probably the most frustrating because you're like, okay, like you can do this. Like now you understand why he's like been single for this long and not had these intimate connections with people, because like he overthinks things, which you know like is relatable. And so there is that moment where you're like, okay, like
I don't know, but I still like him. And I think it's because this series is really a testament to the idea that like it's the chemistry between the leads that matter. It's nothing else. Everything else can be perfect about like the script can be good, the pacing can be good, the production value can be on point. Yeah. But if you don't have that chemistry, like the chemistry really can make or break a series. And like honestly, if all that other stuff is really bad, if the chemistry is there, the show can still be good. Yeah. And this series in particular, I think is a testament to that, because these two actors, like they have great chemistry together, and they both just read as they come off as so genuine and sweet and just like, I mean, yeah, the chemistry that's here is amazing.
Yeah. I also really loved the filming. I mean, I think like most Japanese shows that I've watched, and there've been like a handful, have just like this nice, like warm, kind of fuzzy aesthetic that is just pleasant to watch. Where like one of my favorite K-dramas is called Something in the Rain, and like there's just something so, I mean, it's definitely like emotionally traumatizing, that show, but but the warmth of just the way that it's filmed and like the intimacy that it actually just like naturally creates with that like warm fuzzy, you're like in these apartments that are like kind of small and just cozy. The moment that reminded me that one of my favorite moments is the moment where Adachi is laying down and he's having to like spend the night at Kurosawa's place, I think it is.
Or I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I think it's that. And and he's laying down and Kurosawa for some like he's going to get his phone, but Adachi doesn't know this. And so he's like, oh God, like he knows that he likes him. And so he's like, oh gosh, what is he going to do? And he like walks over and he like gets closer and then he like leans over. And like that, like what you were saying, like just like the simple moments of like this interaction between these two characters is just like so cute. You're just like,
they're just so sweet together. And like, honestly, I think separately too, I like them. I like these actors a lot. Like, I just like these I like them a lot. And so, yeah, they're great. And I think kind of talking about like Adachi and his just like mental gymnastics that he likes to play.
Yeah.
One of the things that I do, like, I think that he is insightful and he does have that. He just gets in his own way. And so, like, one of my other, like, I just sort of made a list of, like, my high points from this show. And so, like, my other high point, which is, like, my ultimate high point in the whole show, is his confession. When he confesses to Kurosawa on the bridge, I love this confession. I love this confession so much because he basically says what I just said, where he's like, I get in my own way. Like, he basically tells him, he's like, I'm sorry it took me so long to like say these words to you. And like, I have been treating you unfairly. And like, you know, but he was like, and he basically says like, I didn't understand what was even happening with me. But like now he's like, I'm really sorry, but I like you. And like, again, it's just like, God, like I feel that so much. And it is a really nice confession because he owns up to like kind of being like a weirdo.
Yeah.
Like he owns up to that and he's like, I don't know what to tell you. And I know this is going to be a huge pain, but like, I like you. I just like you. And then like Kurosawa like hugs him and they hug. And it's just so, I love this. Like I could watch this confession scene on loop for the rest of my life and probably be happy. Like my heart just like, oh my God.
And the same thing is true of when Adachi tells Kurosawa like why he's being weird and the fact that he can like read his mind. Like that scene where Kurosawa is like fully just like, I believe you. Like I respect whatever you're telling me and you do what you need to do. And it's just like such it's kind of what you'd hope someone who like says they love you, how they like respect you and take care of you in like that type of way. Like that's the
and
thing.
They're just like, okay. They're just like, yeah.
They like genuinely care for each other. I think that's what it is. Like, yes, they get in their own way about certain things, but like for the most part, like they really do genuinely have care and concern for the other person, which I don't feel like you see often.
Yeah. I mean, I will sometimes like, okay, I do think that overall they are one of the best BL couples, just like in general.
Yeah.
But sometimes just like how Adachi like gets frustrating, Kurosawa also gets frustrating in his care, I guess. Be like one of the scenes that jumps out to me is like the like ship, the like, you know, the ride thing.
Yeah.
Where Adachi passes out and Kurosawa is just like, he's straight up going through it over this. And he is just like, he basically is like blaming himself. He's like, I should have known this would happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like that's a bit much. Like, because ultimately, like, I'm like, he's an adult. Like, Adachi is like a full grown man adult. Right. Like, he can. And so, like, but when Kurosawa is just like, he's really going through it over this. Like, he's having like an existential crisis over this. That's when I was like, okay, like, reel it in. Like, let's bring it back to reality. Come on now. Come on now.
Well, and I think this show is like a prime example of what we always talk about is like if you just communicate, like all these problems would be solved. Like just talk to each other. And like this is truly the ultimate version of like just talk to each other. Like even if you can read his mind, like you shouldn't be. You should be having a conversation with this person. So, yeah, I did love this couple. And I think what's so interesting too about this show overall as a solid show is that even though this main couple is great, the side couple is enjoyable as well. And it brings something totally new and dynamic. And the friendship between, so the side couple is Asaka Kodai as Suji Masato.
Suge, I believe.
Suge. Yes. And Goto Yutaro as Wataya Minato. We'll go with it. Just go with it.
We're gonna get another like 3-page email.
It's fine. So the friendship between Adachi and Suge,
I think.
Suge? We'll go with it. We can't even give them fun nicknames. It's just like it's cute because like they gave him a friend who was in the same situation, and they both have
a little friend.
Yeah, they both have to like deal with this situation at the same time in like their very own separate ways, which is really fun to watch. And just like, yeah, I really enjoyed the side couple because they just are over the top ridiculous and they deal with it in such a different way than the main couple.
There's some good comedic moments that come out of this, and just like in general, but like they really come out of that. Like there is some good comedic moments, which maybe it's just the Japanese BLs that I have watched, but I feel like I don't always get a lot of like comedy from Japanese BLs, and like that could be like just because of the ones that I have watched are more serious. I don't know, but
I guess that's what you get with like these older shows, right? Where it's like we're adults, we have to deal with emotions and like real life, and we can't be as like fun and silly and whatever
as like college kids. I don't know, but I thought there was good comedy in this, and like I enjoy it. Like I like when there's some comedy to sort of like lift me out of the feels. And then like especially because this series is so just like marshmallow fluff, like 10-foot wide puffer jacket, fluffy, like like pile of feathers, like
the
situation.
Ghostbuster villain.
Yes, because it is all of that. I think without the comedy, it would just be too like saccharine.
Yeah.
It would be like makes your teeth hurt sweet.
Yeah.
Without the comedy to sort of like break it up a little bit.
Right.
And it would be too domestic, which normally I won't complain about like a domestic moment, but like it would be like too much.
Which I think also is what this side couple brings, because they bring a little more grit. Like they have a little more of the conflict. They have like the like kind of they have the conflict and the drama of it, because there's not a ton of drama really.
No.
I mean, you have like the scene with the boss where he's like mad and he can't figure out why. That scene was like that scene where he's like trying to figure out how to touch him. I was like, dude.
But there's like, not a lot of like relationships. So like if you think about other BLs, like you get these like really intricate like reasons we should be mad at each other situations. Yeah. Like that sometimes go as far as like, I don't know, like in our past lives, we like whatever. Like there's not really any of that. Like there's not really this like super intricate, like layered like drama.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like there's not too much more to say about this show. I would highly recommend it. It's one of those shows like at the very end, spoiler alert, they never kiss, and I was just like, I don't need it. Like
I don't need it.
was enjoyable. I watched it again and again. I understand the hype. This is one of those shows that like you couldn't not hear about, but because it's like not easily accessible,
it's so hard to access.
I don't know, unless you like really sought it out, you weren't watching it really, but like everyone who did watch it just loved it.
You got like the hoops you got to go through to get this thing, but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Those hoops are worth it. And there's a reason this is so hyped, and there's a reason people freak. Like there are some BLs that I think that for me didn't necessarily live up. And then there are some that did that like other people think did not. You know what I mean? So like, okay, for example, I actually do like Together. Like whatever, call me out if you want. I actually like Together. I enjoyed it. It was a fun watch for me. I liked it. I walked away liking Brightwind. You know what I mean? So like I enjoyed First. I enjoyed like all of the side characters. Yeah. Didn't enjoy Drake, but then I found my love for him later on. But so like for me, Together lived up to the hype, but for a lot of people, Together did not live up to the hype. They're like, ugh, Together. You know what I mean? And so like this is the hype around Cherry Magic is not that. Like there is a reason everybody just universally blanket statement loves this thing. There's a reason for that. Like it is real.
And I will say, when you hear people talk about how they love Cherry Magic, you just hear that they love Cherry Magic. Like that's a thing. Is there some shows where they're like, oh, I really love Brightwind, right? Like I feel like that's more of what I get from shows where there's a lot of hype around it because of the couple, like a Mugolf Tarn type situation. Like
that's another really polarizing one that has a bunch of hype that people are like, well, I just love Mugolf so much. That like the situation here, even though yes, Adachi and Kurosawa are like one of the best BL couples, if not the best BL couple. Like but that's not the case. It's not like, oh, I just love, you know, Akaso and Machida, right? Like it's not that. It's that I love Cherry Magic. And there's like, it is so worth it. It is so worth it.
It's so unique, like such a fun, unique BL storyline that you're just never going to get anywhere else. Like you don't see this anywhere else. Like it's such a fun, it reminded me of, we actually have quite a few of these in the States, these movies where like you can read people's minds for whatever reason.
And we do like that.
It is pretty comedic. Yeah, like we love to do this in the States because it's such a, you know, in the world of like difficulty communicating, the idea that like you could listen to other people's minds is like appealing, but also the fact that like you could just talk to people.
You could just say something.
Which I feel like it's more like in the shows that we have in the States, it's like men reading women's minds. And so this tracks where it's like two men needing to read minds. Where it's like, it's the men. You men can't communicate.
The men folk.
So good. So anyways.
Well, and we know in the BL world, the men cannot communicate because how many BLs have you watched where literally everything could be solved if they just had a conversation with each other? Like that is the main conflict, for example, in A Tale of a Thousand Stars. Literally, they could have avoided everything in that whole show had Tian been like, hey, just so you guys know, like this is my situation and I'm just trying to do right by the person who like by no fault of my own who like if he had just said that from the get-go,
but then
no Sharpie beards required, like no sadness.
Then you wouldn't have flute playing in a hammock. You wouldn't have a tearful reunion. You wouldn't have a spontaneous kiss on a mountain.
No, but what I'm saying is like you could still kiss on a mountain and like tell people what the deal is. Like I promise you're still allowed to kiss on a mountain. Just like for if you're ever wondering like should I just like tell the truth and communicate with people? Like because you don't have to give up your mountain kiss. Like I promise.
If you're not filming a BL, like definitely.
Yeah. I mean, no matter, like, you can just go, like, I mean, I feel like this should be public knowledge, but you can just go find a mountain and kiss a boy on it. Like, you're allowed.
You should probably know that boy. Like, don't find that boy on the mountain.
That would be a good BL. Find the boy on the mountain.
I mean, that was technically what Tian did.
No, this is okay. No, this is what needs to happen. As you're climbing the mountain, find a mountain. First things first, find a mountain. Find a mountain, climb the mountain. As you are on your way up the mountain, find a boy.
Where's Kilimanjaro?
And Japan.
We got Japan.
Wait, maybe I'm wrong. Oh God. Oh God. That. I'm panicking now. Hold on. No, Fuji. I'm thinking of Fuji. Fuji's in Japan.
Oh my God.
I'm thinking of Fuji.
Anyways, the big mountain that everyone climbs.
Anyways, basically, as you're climbing the mountain, find a boy while you're on your way up and then kiss the boy on the mountain. In fact, Andy Beyond from Trapped was just making his way up a mountain. You too could, like, imagine running into Jack from Trapped and then, like, that's the boy you kiss on the mountain.
It's in Tanzania. It's in Africa.
Okay. So go to Africa, climb that mountain, or go to Taiwan and find whatever mountain Andy climbed, and then hope you run into him.
You can go to Mount Everest. That's in Asia.
Sure.
That's in Nepal, China.
Or go.
You're getting geography.
Go to Taiwan, climb whatever mountain Andy climbed. I maintain, and maybe you'll run into Andy, and like you get to kiss Jack from Trapped on a mountain. I'm just saying, what I'm telling you is that
you can find a boy on a mountain.
Find a boy on a mountain, kiss him on the mountain. Does Singapore have any mountains? I should probably Google that.
It always comes back to summer days. On that note, if you haven't contributed to the summer days crowdfunding, you should go do that.
When this comes out, actually, the giveaway is still running. You can still win, since we've been talking about mountains and kissing on mountains. You can still win limited edition, super sold out XIW by Mix shirt.
Yes.
All you have to do is give money to Alfred. You should want to do that anyways. Just look at his little face. Yeah.
Okay, stop. Okay. This has been Let's Talk BL. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and keep up with all things Let's Talk BL at Let's Talk BL.